Hi, this is Emily Matthews, and quite often when I'm talking to people, if they have to both sell and buy a house, there's a certain level of stress involved wondering how you're going to make the logistics work. There are different strategies to get you into your next home, and that's what this webinar is about. So first things first, if you need to make a move and have to sell a house, make sure that you consider what the market conditions are during that time. When it's a buyer's market, that means that there are a lot of houses to choose from and few buyers. Sellers are usually falling all over themselves to attract the buyers. You can take your time picking out a new house, but also it could take a longer time for your own house to sell. When the market is more even or neutral, that gets the pressure off everyone to some extent. There's usually even numbers of buyers and sellers, and everyone loves an even market. When it's a seller's market, there are very few homes to choose from, and you're competing against a lot of other buyers. You will find this characterized by fast sales and bidding wars. Price range is another market, as it were, when you are considering selling. If you have a starter home, they will always be in demand and you won't have too much trouble selling it. If you have a $600,000 home, it's going to take longer just because there are fewer buyers that can afford a house like that. Then you need to ask yourself, why are you moving? I kind of group people into have to, maybe, and just want to. So the have to people, they know they have to. It's a job or other type of relocation that's required. It could be a financial change. It could be divorce or other family situations. People that maybe want to move eventually want to be closer to their kids or their parents or their siblings, or their home size is now becoming too big or too small, but they can still live where they are happily for a while. And the people that just want to are the people that are kind of holding out for the perfect forever home. This would be someone who is just holding out for the dream home. Sometimes they want a better location. However, location can also turn into a have to if you can't stand where you live. So here are some strategies for selling and buying in a seller's market. You do have options. The first one is probably the best one. You get an offer on your own home and plan on a bridge loan to tide you over if needed. But in the meantime, you have an offer on your home and hopefully an extended closing date so you don't even need the bridge loan. Bridge loans can be too expensive and they may require you to have more equity in the house than you actually have, so it might not even work. And again, it's only for a short time. Another option is to take a home equity loan on your current house in order to pay cash on the next one or pay the down payment on the next one. Again, you have to have enough equity or even own it outright. I have had buyers that utilized this strategy. They took a home equity loan out on the house they were selling to put down a down payment and got a second mortgage on the house they were buying. As soon as their own home sold, they paid off their tiny mortgage, whatever it was, $20,000. It was tiny, and used the rest of it to pay down a big part of the principal on the new house, so they again had a tiny mortgage. It worked out really nicely. Here's another strategy. You can get a completely new mortgage independent of the current one if you even have a mortgage. This definitely works if you own outright or if you make a lot more money than you used to, or you have other loans and debts paid off, because the lenders are always considering your debt to income ratio. You do have to live in your old home at least 6 months if you bought it with a conventional loan and a year if you bought it with a government loan. Another strategy is have an offer on your own home and hunt for the next one. This does mean a sale of property contingency, which can weaken your offer. That's why some people consider the bridge loan instead. You might not like what you find in time, If you advertise subject to seller finding home of choice, that does protect you. However, it also can scare off some buyers that don't want to have the rug pulled out from under them. Another option is to sell your house hunt, and if your closing on your own house comes and goes, then camp out with relatives or buy a cheap house or rent an apartment. I've had buyers that did all three of these choices, whatever worked for them, and they were happy with the choice they made. I had buyers that sold and camped out with relatives for 4 weeks. Some other buyers were so tired of losing out because they had a sale of property SOP contingency that they said, we're just selling. They rented a duplex month to month, and then they were free and clear and able to house hunt and got a house quite quickly after that. And then some other people were planning to build, so what they did was they just bought a cheap home because their mortgage payments were cheaper than what they would have had to pay for rent. So you can see that there are definitely options, and it always positions you as a very strong buyer this way. It can be very convenient, and it removes the pressure of having to find something fast, like feeling like, oh, I just have to settle for this house because I got to be out of my other house. So considering some final strategies here, negotiation can solve potential problems with logistics. For example, you can ask your buyer for ability to rent back. You want to insist on a long closing when you have your own house on the market. You want to be also willing to be flexible for the seller of the house you're buying, because sellers do have the stronger position in a seller's market. And above all, you want to avoid discouraging your buyer or the person you're buying, your seller, the one you're buying a house from. Timing can solve or create some issues. Sometimes people want to wait till almost too late to put their house on the market. That's going to create a lot of issues. You might not even be able to get an offer accepted if it's not even on the market. Seasonal factors. Some seasons tend to favor buyers, some seasons tend to favor sellers. Simultaneous closings are what people really like. Typically, in a real estate transaction, when you're selling a house, you pre-sign, but the actual closing is, say it's the 17th. So you pre-signed on the 15th. Your buyers come in and sign on the 17th, and as soon as that house is sold, you can go in an hour later or half an hour, whatever. You can do it all in the same title company office. You can sign the papers for the house you're buying. That's known as a simultaneous closing, even if you pre-signed to sell your house. So here are some strategies when it's a buyer's market. You definitely have to focus on making your home seen as the best deal around. You absolutely have to offer the best deal, and I have a system I developed that can help you clarify your focus in getting your house ready. You definitely have to be willing to concede things to your buyers. We are experiencing a prolonged seller's market as of the date of this recording, and people have almost forgotten that when it's a buyer's market, the buyers have the position of strength, and you definitely have to concede things to them. If you have an offer on your home and it's a buyer's market, you're very strong in this market because you actually managed to get an offer on your home, and everybody else is still trying to attract buyers. You don't have to worry as much about a sale of property contingency when it's a buyer's market. And many of the other strategies remain the same. The overall best strategy for any market is have your house at 100% ready to go in case you find something sooner than you expected. Please pack up anything that you aren't really using and either store it, sell it, or donate it, because you're going to be moving anyway, so why not get that step out of the way? Using the home sale system can take the guesswork out of some of the planning, and please do not procrastinate on any planned upgrades or repairs that you are going to do or started and didn't complete, because they have to be finished to attract a buyer. So since you plan to list your home, all I ask is that when you do decide to sell, that you call and give me a chance to interview for the job, because the best way for me to demonstrate how I can help is actually to help you. So a lot of people do have a fear factor. They express concern that they might be homeless when facing a move. This is extremely common, and actually I don't know of anybody who literally was homeless when they were selling one house and buying another. Everybody's afraid of it, but it's like one of those sayings that they say, well, the thing you worry about never happens. That is, I've never seen it happen. Maybe it has somewhere to somebody, but I've not seen it. And then being prepared again helps you avoid frustration, anxiety, and overwhelm. A little bit about the home sale system. The home score evaluation tool is the main part of this, and it's a score sheet I developed. It's based loosely on qualities and features that appraisers are going to look for. I did a pricing strategy advisor certification where we explored what appraisers look for. But it's not an appraisal. It's just based on the kinds of things that they give points to. It's also based on my own experience on what buyers like, based on data obtained from the National Association of Realtors, Freddie Mac, and the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, and it does not factor in electrical or plumbing issues. That is a separate issue altogether, and if you have serious issues with that, then of course that's going to affect your price. Once you have the home score evaluation, the points, you'll know exactly what to spend money on and what's a waste of time, have a step-by-step system to follow, and be confident that you are positioning your home to be seen as the best buy in the area. You'll avoid last-minute panic, wasting money on irrelevant projects, wondering whether you really did all you could to attract buyer attention, uncertainty about, well, will they like the house? And finally, you do not want to end up with a stale listing. You want to avoid that. So discuss your next best steps. You can schedule a fast track call. You just click below, it takes you to my calendar, find a date and time that works, fill in the scheduling form, and that's it. During the call, we will discuss your needs, your goals, your timeline, so that you will then have an action plan to get you the home of your choice.